The treatment of Meghan in contrast to Kate has been fueled by the toxic British press and is clearly a result of racial prejudice. The unrelenting duel of the Duchess of Sussex versus the Princess of Wales is a media phenomenon, sparked by the British tabloids and now fueled both by social media hysteria and the international press. It's no secret, and we've all seen the headlines: highly charged yet subtle and palatable British racism, served up against Meghan and with a healthy side of avocados. I for one was never a royalist, but there was no escaping the royal weddings of the 2010s. William and Catherine fitted the frame of a textbook royal wedding. Pomp and ceremony filled the air, and the nation was alight with cheers and delight. I had actually felt something. You'd have to be cold not to. They looked so happy as they waved to crowds who came from far and near, flooding the streets of London with joy and tears. William was hitched and thus continued the journey of royal tradition. We all knew the day would come when a much younger and perhaps more charismatic Prince Harry, once very much introverted, would walk the aisle of matrimony. William had always played the role of a watchful and caring older brother to Harry. It had always seemed obvious, at least in the public spectacle. But times were changing, and it was time for the nation to celebrate another royal wedding. Invitations were printed, die-stamped in gold, and delivered to their intended recipients, which also included royals, movie stars, and former prime ministers. The stage was set. Harry and Meghan were to become the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It was a magical time. Against the backdrop of a chapel steeped on a hill in the English countryside, this was set to become ground zero for not only a fairy tale wedding, but what also became the poison chalice of the toxic British press. Before the wedding got on the way, there was speculation and controversy over Meghan's wedding dress. The press was fueling the fire, and the headlines were grabbing the attention of not only the nation, but the world at large. Looking at the trend pattern on Google Trends over a 5-year period, and comparing search results of Catherine, the Princess of Wales versus Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, it paints an obvious picture that Meghan has been far more popular over recent years, and not because of her Hollywood fame, but because of almost entirely negative publicity in the British media. I had tried to escape the hype, but who was I kidding? There was no escaping. I was sucked in. It was magical, and I was glad I did not miss it. But despite only seeing it on TV, it felt like I was right there in Windsor. When analyzing the trends, the largest spike came in May 2018 when the Duke and Duchess of Sussex tied the knot. The second largest spike was in March 2021 when the Sussexes gave an exclusive interview to Oprah Winfrey, which aired on March 7, 2021 in the US and sent the internet into a frenzy. Other notable spikes in the trends included March 2020 when the Sussexes wrapped up their final official engagement, before splitting from the royal family and moving to the US. Megxit, as it was labeled by the British press. Another spike in the trend included September 2022 when the late Queen passed away. December 2022 when Harry and Meghan's docu-series featured for the first time on Netflix. Despite having never trended higher than Meghan internationally, Kate had a much larger UK trend back in 2012 when her and William toured the former British colonial territories of Southeast Asia and the Pacific, on behalf of the late Queen for her Diamond Jubilee. It is however notable to point out, this was because the Queen was no longer able to travel long distances. Also, Meghan had not yet come into royal focus. In more recent comparisons, Kate has mostly trended flat over the past 5 years, compared to Meghan's bumper success in the digital realm. Both royal weddings had set the internet ablaze in April 2011 and May 2018. However, William and Kate scored just 71 points on the international Google Trends, while Harry and Meghan's wedding scored a full 100 points worldwide. The charts also indicate that Kate had a slight uptick in trend on the wedding of the Sussexes' royal wedding. Despite the hype and internet frenzy surrounding the Mother's Day Photogate scandal and a series of subsequent photo and video released in the press, sparking further Kate's piracy theories across the web, the Princess of Wales has to date only surged as high as 55 points on Google Trends as of March 22, 2024, and since her all-time high of 93 in 2012, when compared to Meghan's all-time high of 100 points. The trends are even more staggering when you compare William the Prince of Wales with Harry the Duke of Sussex. It's no doubt that Meghan has been on the sharp end of unrelenting, negative publicity in the UK press, while Kate has now been recently getting a taste since the Photogate scandal. Whatever we may think of the two royal princesses, the toxic British press has always played a hand in distorting the image of Meghan. We can only hope the British press finds the compassion to show both royal princesses the same level of respect and human dignity.